of these factories, and as to whether or not the one district, one factory meant every district. They also didn't mean every district in Ghana. So I think it is something that they have brought it, and they know what they have done so far. Of course, we also do know what they have done so far. But in their expansion, I'm sure they will look at, they may do, based on a quick SWOT analysis, look at their strengths and weaknesses, they look at the threats and then the opportunities therein, and be able to improve upon it. Of course, they did some good, but there is more room for improvement.
Jerry, Imam mentioned the sustainability. That is where I was looking at. I don't know if, I was looking at critiquing it a bit, because just saying things and then putting it on paper becomes a paper if the implementation becomes a different thing. You understand? So if 1D, 1F, and similar to what the NDC is saying, if it is anything, because when the thing is visible, then people can wholeheartedly say that, yes, our governments are working. Because someone will tell you that a house is built in the room. You plan it, and then it has to be visible for all to see that this is what you plan, and this is how far it's come. You understand? So all these things, for me, still looks good on paper. And I'm just hoping that...
So this one is going for both parties?
For
whatever
both
they have put on paper...
It has to be visible. It shouldn't be a mere talk shop. And it shouldn't be a point where I'm just putting these things out there to win power. Are you getting the point? I'm not just doing anything just to win power, because it's coming a time we are actually getting there where Ghanaians would eventually see that, look, these people are just playing with us. And then they are just playing on our minds. When it's election period, this is what they have to say. This is what they have to tell us. And then we just give them our votes. And at the end of the day, so if, like I did say, the 1D, 1F, for me, it is not too visible enough. If they are expanding it, fantastic.
Okay.
That's all.
Let's see. Even the NDC also speaks about some factories that they will revive. Which are these? And they spoke about some factories they are going to revive. And then also...
Revival of the textile and cotton industry.
Okay. Then also, they also touched on establishing factories for brewing local beer in the Upper East, Upper West, and other northern regions. Then they came to the Zwarungu meat factory, the Pualugu tomato factory, the Wulugu livestock station, and the Commander sugar factory. Is Commander also in the MPP's manifesto?
No. I'm not finding it here.
Yeah, I've not seen that yet.
They didn't add Commander at all?
No, I'm not finding it here.
No.
Oh, okay. I'm sure it will be hidden in some other corner somewhere under some line like that. So I think it only appears as one of the towns where some work was done. It says on page 213, we've also spent about 2.5 billion Ghana cedis on coastal protection works. Several projects, including works in the coastal towns of Commander and Elmina, are almost complete. So I think it has to do with the sea defense and all that, but not the sugar factory. Anyway, can we talk about these two manifestos in the line of jobs and not talk about the NDC's biggest policy conversation this election? 24-hour economy.
24-hour economy.
Mr. Watson.
Yeah, and Jerry, of course, we ought to talk about the 24-hour economy. But what can I say to that? What I can say to that is that we've had, I think last night or so, I chanced on an interview of the former president, the flag bearer of the NDC on the 24-hour economy. So basically, the policy in their documents, they are saying they want to implement around the clock economic activity across all sectors, focusing on manufacturing, agro-processing, hospitality, and services, because through that they seek to boost GDP through increased productivity and employment. Productivity and employment directly feeds into the gross domestic product, which measures the economic, the health of the economy, or the prowess of the economy, properly so called. Now, So I think one of the key takeaways I got from the former president was that it will start from somewhere, because a question of cost is something I've been asking myself, was asked, and he said it will start from somewhere, and because of that, it's difficult to give a cost to it and all of that. And for some of us, that is concerning, because we want to know how much this policy, when implemented, is going to cost the Ghanaian economy, and against how much we are going to earn from it. That cost-benefit analysis is important for us to be able to understand whether or not the policy will be sustainable. Another question that was posed to him that is quite concerning to me this morning is on the issue of what if another government comes in and abandons it and says Ghana loses. So I think that somewhat me, when this policy, the NDC win and this policy is rolled out, one of the things I expect the Ghanaian parliament to do is to really get into it, to see how well it can shape the future of the country and how we can get it to work well. I have been saying time without number that anyone who wants to become president of Ghana means well and has good intentions for the country. I think that one of the key things we have faced, or challenges we have faced as a country, has to do with implementation challenges. And I believe so well that Parliament and even the Ghanaian people can do a good work when it comes into the implementation of these policies. So let's all contribute our bit so that the vision that the former president had can stand the test or the stand of time.
Okay. Talking of similarities between the two of them in the area of job creation, at least we've solved the 1 million youth in the digital skills. I think no matter what happens on Saturday too, there's another similarity: apprenticeship. So the NPP talks about the fourth industrial revolution workplace, covering technical skills in a vast range of fields, including industrial welding, new material, digital manufacturing, machining, fabrication. And he says these skills are in high demand both domestically and local and globally. Then he talks about expanding the coverage of the Ghana Skills Development Fund, GSDF, towards apprenticeship training, entrepreneurship training, and business expansion for job creation. This is on the MPP side. On the NDC side, it has a whole program called the National Apprenticeship Program.
Exactly.
And it's supposed to generate self-employment by providing free technical. So can we also say, like we've said for the taxes that will go, like we've said for digital skills, apprenticeship will be a big thing in the coming year?
Yeah, it would. And it is a way to reduce the level of unemployment in the country. Yeah, because like we have said, the size of the economy as of the number of jobs available, as against the number of people who are employable, you see some gap in there. What do you do to be able to cater for the excesses? Are they able to start something on their own? If they are able to, what do they have? Do they have the ability to do so? And so digital nomad, apprenticeship, and all of that is one of the ways to get the youth to have these soft skills to be able to do something. Now, the next level conversation is how do you position all of this at the center of the Africa Continental Free Trade Area so that we are able to also compete with the rest of the region.
Okay, so apprenticeship is going to happen. Now, to both of you, let me okay, on the apprenticeship?
Yes, just to wade in a bit. With the apprenticeship thing, I think apprenticeship does not necessarily mean employment.
Yeah, but you can't be an apprentice for life.
Great.
After a while, you are done with your apprenticeship.
Go. So that
I understand.
It will translate into employment.
Yes. At the end of the day, you see, we are in this country where there's been so many examples we can cite. People, after getting their skill, the training through the apprenticeship, they're home. All they need is just the funding, the support.
Yeah, but
so what I wanted to add up is where it wouldn't be at least there are funds that are allocated for such. Yeah. So after the
talks about the GSDF.
Great. So after the training,
they talk about the National Apprenticeship Program.
Great. So after getting the training, at least you are sure that you are going to, there will be a take home to support your
Nyako, the
skill.
apprenticeship I know. I have some sprayers not too far from my house.
Okay.
I have some fabricators not too far from my house.
Okay.
When you are done with your apprenticeship and they've done that party and they've declared you and you don't go.
And you are not a professional apprentice.
No.
A professional who is ready.
Rarely do
for the
they
job
go.
market.
They still stay there and they become seniors to the others that will come. The master hardly works. The master is more like a supervisor.
Okay.
So these guys who are done with the apprenticeship, they stay and they are paid.
Fantastic.
So the apprenticeship I know there on the ground streets, me I'm a Kobolo boy. Our kind of apprenticeship. You don't go home after that. You are going to sit at home and wait for somebody to give you money to come and buy spraying machine and all that. No, you still work with your master.
Recently, the MPP through the YE trained some guys. Some
Magina
and at the end of the day, so that's what I'm saying, that if it will not be the
those
usual
were not
thing of
apprentices.
Getting the training.
Those were not apprentices. Those were people who were trained. They were carried from the street.
They were doing their businesses. Okay.
Yes, they are carrying things.
Yeah, but they were training to a different field altogether.
Yeah.
Some decide to stay where they are, and then they were training the skill. I understand.
If you were trained in, say, beautician, whatever, manicurists and pedicurists, those per se, very few can be retained. But I can assure you that welding, fabrication, and all that, your master needs hands. He needs experienced people.
So he definitely needs you there.
So you will be there. And the more jobs you get, the only bit that probably we could add to it is then to get them registered and get a bit of sales and marketing to attach to the business.
The skill, yeah.
Because if you train them to be welders and they are welding 1 million gates, who is buying the gates? Who is selling the gates? So maybe in that score, we add a bit of skills and marketing to it. Okay. But apprenticeship works. It leads to employment. It leads to employment, like Ima is saying.
Yeah.
Ima, are you still there? Am I speaking the right thing when it comes to apprenticeship?
Oh yes, you are. So for instance, there is a daughter or a son of ours to go and learn how to sew. That child is going to be an apprentice.
Okay.
What does that mean? That child is going to be under training to become a dressmaker one day. And so what they are doing is to give them that skill so that on their own, they will be able to replicate the process. And so apprenticeship is not only in that technical area. If you have a teaching assistant, a research assistant, all that they are doing in that time is not only supporting the work of the lecturer or their supervisor, but also being trained so that one day when the lecturer is no longer there, or one day when an opportunity comes their way, they will be able to continue with the knowledge and expansion.
Okay. And the apprentice I know that I have worked with or I've lived with, I grew up with, a chunk of my colleagues went through apprenticeship. I was the one who went through book. There are a lot of them. So if you come to my neighborhood, I have brothers and friends who are every kind of apprentice you can find. I have one who I grew up with. But the thing here is this. Ima, those I grew up with eventually became masters, not because some government subvention came their way. No. They worked with their masters. Yeah. They were paid and they saved enough to get the basic tools to begin on
their own.
Exactly. So I think apprenticeship is a heavy discussion, and I'm happy that both parties are talking about apprenticeship. Let's move to another.
The government paying for the cost of training.
Exactly, because normally you would take drink to your master. And some money as well to go and declare that you want to be an apprentice.
Aside from us talking about your independency after your training, can we also look at it from an angle where the government will adopt a system where it can absorb most or some of these, skilled professionals after their training?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that should be part of
they can factor
the bigger
those
agenda.
Things. Yeah, I'm sure they can factor those things in.
But as a business,
because it still comes back to that thing that I was trying to allude to, that some people after their training, you you train me into is it
Yeah, you are fabricating gates. Why are you going to?
No.
Why are you going to? Why are you going home? Stay with your master. You can't go and fabricate gates at your house the next day.
Let me land. You probably get what I'm trying to say. So you train me into maybe sewing.
Mm-hmm.
After the training, you give me a sewing machine.
Who?
I'm talking about the training.
Government. You mean government will give
government gives me a sewing machine, gives me a little funding like 1,000. Are you getting the point? And at least as a startup for me to do something on my own, you realize that it will come to a point that these things may not necessarily be enough, and I would want more. I don't know. I'm not sure if you are getting me.
No, I'm getting you 100%. And let me tell you why. That's why I keep saying apprenticeship must not be that kind of take somebody for 2 weeks training and then give the person 1,000 cedis. You just wasted money. I'm going to tell you why. If you train the lady in manicuring and pedicuring and give her 1,000 cedis, first of all, that 1,000 won't be able to get her the kind of kits she needs to be able to.
But that's what we are seeing. That's what we experience. That's what I
don't want to talk
to.
about that. I know the Madina thing you're talking about, so I don't want to go there. But I'm saying that going forward, if you're talking apprenticeship, after the apprenticeship period, and it will not be 2 weeks holding up in some hostel.
Yeah.
It is proper. You go home and come to your apprentice. They send you to go and buy Kenke, and you work in a hot sun kind of apprenticeship. It toughens you. Thereafter, you stay. You know why? The one you went to train for 3 weeks and give the person 2,000 to go and set up a manicuring, whatever. Ladies won't go there because they think she's inexperienced. Who is she?
Yeah.
They will go to her madam who taught her.
Okay.
Which is why she must be still under the madam.
Okay. I think I'm
for a year or two.
Yeah.
Before she can come out. It is after that if you are giving her 1,000, she already knows the ground now.
Okay.
She knows what to do. So it is very clear. Now, if we don't do that, we would keep piling up the numbers. There's a word for it. Like we're packing the numbers and it looks good. We've trained 1 million people and giving them 1,000 each.
So we get a chance to do our politics.
Nah, that one know the work.
Yeah.
Let's look at traditional way of doing things so that when we are roping it into full-fledged government policies, we don't go too far from the traditional. Because the traditional has worked. I've known one of these apprentices who is still with his master. And he's a senior man now, but he's still with his master.
That's what I'm saying, that
he's an employee.
If the government is going to partner the private person, to engage,
the government
in the system,
must
create a system. Yes, they must adopt or create a system to absorb some of these.
Yeah, but
professionals.
Mr. Nyako, government is still not a biggest employer when it comes to these kind of skills.
I understand. Just
private sector would be still the place. Government can only employ how many gates guys, how many gate fabricators, or how many metallic check fabricators. Private sector is the way to go.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, it's 1:15 the top of the hour. We have about just 10 minutes to finish the discussion. Mr. Watson, I want us to go to women. Is there another similarity between the two parties when it comes to women? Mr. Nyako, Mr. Watson, when it comes to women's development, women-led businesses, women-owned businesses, what are their plans for both women? Who is starting with?
All right.
Good.
So from the National Democratic Congress, they are looking at the Women's Development Bank.
Okay.
Which seeks to support women-led and women-owned businesses, give them low-interest loans on flexible terms, and target and empowering 1 million Ghanaian women.
Another figure, 1 million. 1 million youth, 1 million women. Okay, interested. Mr. Nyaku, what is MPP saying about women in terms of business or trade?
Okay,
I think the last time I checked, I saw something called the Women's Trade Empowerment Fund to support women-owned businesses. A Women's Trade Empowerment Fund. I think that is their response to the Women's Development Bank, where they say they would establish a women's trade, a WOTEF, W-O small O-T-E-F, and all that. Mr. Barton, why the special emphasis on women in both parties, by both parties?
All right, so I think that it has a background. It's an issue of inclusivity.
Inclusivity.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's Now, globally, we are talking about women-led businesses and all. You remember the last time I was in the studio, I think 2 weeks ago or so, we spoke about how businesses led by women, on the average, research shows that they do better.
They do better. Yeah.
Yeah, relative to men and all of that. So we need women to also get into business, because we also believe that the place for the women is not just to be staff of businesses, but they can also lead businesses of their own. And you need to give them some funds, seed capital, for them to be able to. In other words, you need to incentivize them for this very cause. And so I think they are being given. You never see anything about men. No, you won't. But you will see something about women. You will see some, because we also consider them to be part of the, if you like, I want to just choose my words carefully, but the minority group in terms of businesses that are being led globally. So it's an initiative that fits well with the global business landscape. And I think that it is the way to go. It is not in the wrong direction, but it is the right thing to do.
Did you mention the WOTEF?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
WOTEF. I like the name already. WOTEF. They will provide loans and grants too. So Ima, we can also clearly state, and I like your caveat you always put before, that if these parties are true to their words, then come what come may, Saturday, whoever wins the elections, women will be sorted out. That's what we're saying.
We'll sort them out at home,
So taxes, no matter what, some taxes are going, right?
Yeah.
No matter what, digital skills for youth coming in.
Yeah.
And then no matter what, factories in various districts. And now we are adding a fourth one, that no matter what, if these parties stay true to their words, then there will either be a women's development bank or a women's trade empowerment fund.
Yeah.
Great.
So the MPP is also looking at this WOTEF initiative, and they are saying that it's designed to address. Did you mention that already?
Yeah, you continue.
It's designed to address the unique challenges faced by women entrepreneurs by offering targeted financial assistance and critical resources. So by providing support tailored to the needs of women-owned businesses, WOTEF aims to empower women to overcome economic barriers and thrive in a competitive marketplace.
Great. Ima, let me find out from you, what is the difference between having the women's agenda championed by a women's development bank and the MPP's agenda of a women's agenda being championed by a fund? Does it make a difference if one is a bank, one is a fund?
It does make a difference to an extent. So a bank will function like any other bank. However, it has a specific focus to women and whatever they will do. Now, a fund is also targeted at women alone. So as to where that fund will sit, whether it's going to sit with a
financial institution,
okay, it's going to sit with the financial institution, it's going to sit with the Bank of Ghana and all of that. It's another thing to discuss and all of that. But I think the difference is that one is a bank, because in a bank you can have a fund in there and all of that. But a fund could be a budgetary allocation for women year on year and all of that. So in the end,
okay,
yes, you can come in.
You're saying that a fund can sit in a bank, like,
yes.
And then okay, so WOTEF can sit with maybe the National Development Bank.
Yes.
Great. But then also, you are saying that a bank like the Women's Development Bank, the NDC is proposing, can have a fund.
Yes.
Okay. Or a fund can set up a bank.
Certainly so. That's,
okay.
I mean, it's a dual causal relationship.
Okay. But that doesn't.
It's a bi-causal relationship.
With the bank thing, doesn't it make it a bit limited in terms of financing or something?
No, if it's a development bank, limited, that is even more fluid.
But Ima, I'm also finding out from you, is that is there any one of the two that can say, okay, maybe with a bank, are the women going to pay the money back, or if it's a grant, it is for free? And then here, the WOTEF talks about loans and grants, so they've differentiated.
Yeah, for the bank, they said that they were going to give them loans at a lower interest.
Oh, okay. So they will pay. They will pay. Okay.
Yeah, you go pay.
Okay. So here too they will pay. Unless maybe it's a grant. Great. We've just less than 5 minutes to run. Let me ask you two, starting with Mr. Nyarko. Having gone through the two manifestos, in terms of their jobs, their job creation initiatives and their ideas and all that. Let's use Mr. Emmanuel Barton's caveat. If they stay true to their manifestos, Ghanaians should look up to good times beyond 7th January 2025.
If they say true to their manifestos, I think that would be the turning point for the Ghana, the citizen-politician relationship.
Okay.
In the sense that a lot of these promises, have been seen over the period. However, the implementation becomes either a fiasco or something else, and it's in the long term, it takes out the trust.
The trust, okay.
Yes,
okay.
and the belief in some of these things. So it's like me sitting here, all I've been doing is to be critiquing some of these things, because a lot of these things, we have heard them over and over again. You understand? So if they are going to stay true to most of these things that they say, look, everything looks so beautiful on paper, but on the reality, is that the same? Are you getting the point? So if we talk about inflation rate reaching a single digit, and we still cannot, get the effect in our pockets, in our economic, settings. I mean, so for me, I think it will be a beautiful relationship for the people to give their trust to these people, because that is why they vote. That's the reason why they give you their power. So at the end of the day, we are expecting you to do something, not just make a talk shop out of your experience or knowledge or whatever, but make things happen. And that is what the electorate is looking at. That is what the average citizen is looking at. So I believe that, look, we are just praying and hoping that these things that they have outlined is going to be something that they are going to mean it, and then bring the trust of the people back to them.
Okay, Mr. Barton.
Yeah, Jerry, I want to say that, of course, the manifestos give a promising future for Ghana, but my bit of it is to the political parties. Look at the bigger picture, which is Ghana. Look at the future of Ghana. It is a little beyond these promises, aimed at being attained within some period of time. Look at how this would broadly align with a general plan for Ghana's development, prosperity, and future.
Can I cut in?
Yes, come in.
Just because of what you just said. Once again, I go back to Vision 2057, the long-term national development perspective framework by the national, the almighty. I don't want to pick on them, but as always, I prefer to go to them when we are done with manifesto. The National Development Planning Commission. Let me read and let's see if what we've read today ties into it. You recall that yesterday I did the same when it came to that. Now, this is what they have said concerning this beautiful country called Ghana. The strategic direction they want Ghana to go is underpinned by 5 key points. Number 1, create an enabling environment for the production of decent jobs. Ensure that the national human capital development strategy is responsive to skills requirements for sustained socioeconomic growth and development. Expedite the completion and implementation of the policy on the formalization of the informal sector in enforcing decent employment. Collaborate with the private sector to expand job openings to absorb the teeming unemployed Ghanaian youth. And the 5th one is integrate pre-employment support activities as part of the country's current educational system. Now, to the two of you, having watched or having gone through the 2 manifestos, are these 2 parties going along with Vision 2057?
I think that is the direction they are looking at.
Okay.
Probably the reason for which they are aligning all these things. Yeah. So one way or the other, they are having their vision towards that.
So what I'm saying is these 2 parties, what they are saying in their manifestos, and once again, let's add the clause, if they are true to it, it's not really different from Vision 2057.
No.
Am I right?
Yeah, you are right.
Okay.
You are right.
So we are not too far from it, because 4.5 under Vision 2057 is employment and decent work. And from what we've gone through today, they have plans for the youth. They have plans to formalize the informal sector. And then also TVET means that our educational system is also integrating some of these things. So anyway, any final words, Mr. Nyako?
Yeah. So
I might not
Jerry,
be able to talk to you until after the elections.
No problem. But I will still be communicating.
Fantastic. We'll call each other.
Jerry, I certainly am tired
Of what?
of the many
Don't worry. Tomorrow is a
talk
holiday.
shops.
Tomorrow is a holiday. You can rest.
Massa.
It's not that kind of tiredness, eh?
I'm tired of the many talk shops.
Okay.
Regardless, I have no choice. I still have to vote anyways. So we'll continue voting for them.
Okay.
And if I say them, I'm not specifically saying the NDC and the MPP all of the time, because there could be a powerful force or a third force that would emerge. And
It could be the new force.
you
mean a new force can arise?
No, I didn't mention a force. Did I? If I did, then I'm trying to say I'm trying to mention a different force. So what I'm trying to say is that if take it or leave it, since '92 to date, it's been NDC and the MPP. So obviously these are the choices of a candidate or parties that Ghanaians would always root for. So what we are saying, or what I'm saying, is that please, Ghanaians by the day are getting discerning. They are popular terms, and people are getting educated by the day. So the previous times where you say one thing and then when you get the power, you do a different thing. I think it should be a different thing. So please, as you say it, just mean them, and we'll continue to love you because you guys are one of our own.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Mr. Watson, you have the last word. I might not talk to you until after the elections.
Yeah, God bless our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I look forward to a peaceful election. I look forward to a better economic environment for Ghana. And my hope and prayer is that God will continue to sustain all of us.
Thank you, Osofo. Enjoy the weekend, the holiday, and everything. We'll talk during the elections. I'm sure our calls will be running up and down like that. Have a good one, people. My name is Jerry Ham, and I'm signing off. I might not talk to you listeners again until on Monday after the elections. You never know. We'll come back here on Monday, God willing, and then we'll talk for Mother Ghana, for God and country. That's what we do every single Monday to Friday. Coming up at 10 a.m. is NYA The Brand. She's mid-morning's finest to give us the brighter side. 30 seconds to the top of the hour. I leave you with this very line before Saturday's elections. Once again, pray like it only depends on God. But please work like it only depends on you. Have a good one, people. I sign out. See you again in the coming week.